The Feds, desperate to keep some power, are on the move with billions of fiat dollars in bribes. Benjamin Fulford. August 12, 2013. Despite a request that I not be contacted unless it was urgent, phone calls from Asia and Europe and messages hand-delivered to my remote cottage all indicate that some sort of fundamental change has taken place in the global power structure. For example, the Federal Reserve Board crime syndicate has begun a massive attempt to buy historical Asian bonds, offering billions to holders they previously told to buzz off, according to Asian and BIS sources. This is an attempt on their part to keep some sort of power, after what they now see as an inevitable sea change in how the planet's financial system, and thus its true power, is run, according to Miles 5 sources in direct contact with the Fed bond buyers. The Feds are now offering billions of dollars for historical bond boxes they used to buy for a few $100,000s, if they decided not to kill the would-be seller instead. This may be tempting to the holders of these bonds, but they need to remember that at the end of the day the Feds will be lucky to emerge from all this with their skins intact. In any case, the White Dragon Society has suggested to bondholders that there is no need to sell bonds with a face value of trillions of dollars for a fraction of what they are worth. Instead, the WDS will meet with representatives of the Feds, of Asian secret societies, of the Illuminati and the Committee of 300 in the autumn to try to come up with a win-win solution for everybody. In the meantime, it is recommended that people enjoy the rest of their holidays, and charge their batteries, for what is likely to be a historical fall in more than one sense. The big geopolitical change that precipitated this sudden Fed change of heart is the move by Putin, the Gnostic Illuminati and their allies, to force the United States corporate government to close embassies throughout the Middle East. This has underlined, for all to see, the biggest geopolitical sea change in the West since the fall of the Soviet Union. Western Europe, which is deeply in debt to the rest of the world, is now relying on Putin and his allies for energy. That means, in essence, Western Europe and the Middle East are no longer under cabal military control. The Pentagon, although still in charge of by far the most potent military force on Earth, no longer wishes to work for cabal oil interests in the Middle East. Instead, they are concentrating on successfully surfing the big switch in financial power to Asia, and to anti-fascist forces in the West. The background for this is that Asian royal families and other interests are now looking like they will finally get justice after over 100 years of being lied to and manipulated by the families that own the Federal Reserve Board. In specific financial terms, hundreds of trillions of dollars of bonds issued by the Feds in exchange for Asian gold are likely to be used in a move to bankrupt the Federal Reserve Board. The Neil Keenan lawsuit is part of this effort. Rather than be declared bankrupt, the families behind the Feds are now trying to buy up as many of these bonds as possible so that, even if the Federal Reserve Board goes belly up, they can claim to have trillions of dollars worth of these bonds that are suddenly morphing from historical antiques into sources of major power. A large portion of these bonds, several $1 trillion worth, have been pledged to the WDS banner. In addition, gold holders and military forces are lining themselves up to WDS goals. These are to start a massive project to end poverty, stop environmental destruction and set humanity on a path of exponential expansion into the universe. Compare this to cabal goals of a never-ending fake, war on terror or a fraudulent global warming con job. The top leadership of the cabal was simply hoping to keep in power indefinitely by killing 5 billion people and enslaving the rest. This is extremely well documented. In such circumstances it is a good idea to step back and look at the big picture. Global GDP, including offshore financial centers, is less than $100 trillion. Suddenly dumping tens or hundreds of trillions of dollars into the world economy will cause vast changes of the sort anybody could see. If the money is just handed out like free booze, there would be a huge party followed by a huge hangover. At the end of the day, the same old gangsters would still be in charge. However, just putting $1 trillion a year into development projects would mean spending 20 times more than the World Bank, the cabal-controlled world order's largest development institution. That alone would be enough